Yo, ECOMI family, VeVe City, this is the Bavarian Deadbot Batman. I'm the Deadbot and Batman is angry at me because he likes it with the lights on and I don't. Watching movies, by the way. Angry is a good segue. We have a sponsorship for the video idea. It's Angry Comment number 2, a flagrance by FUD. So, we talk about some statistics and FUD in general and about the incompetence of the team. And if you're angry at VeVe and fudding all this stuff and get all right up, watch till the end because there's something for you. So, a quick backstory in this. I had a comment on my last video. The guy was saying, Omi's down 80% and I'm still strong in the cult. Basically saying, Omi's down, the project is bad, I'm an idiot. I replied to him that I don't understand his argument because ETH was down and BTC was down 90%, ETH like 90%, and Amazon was down at one point, and I didn't understand this argument. So he replied to me with the longer reply. I'm going to read this to you and we talk about that and break this down a little bit. Bavarian Deadbot Batman, why not compare VeVe to the hundreds of failed car companies or radio manufacturers that failed? Your logic is flawed. You have a blind spot as large as a train. Statistically, VeVe will fail, especially given their poor management and performance. No search bar, no interoperability, no utility, no OMI use case, no comics in showroom, no MTL, no OMI to NFT, no web app. They cannot deliver a web app even though they're paying Google and Apple 30% of their gem sales. Think about it. So let's break this down. First of all, there is no real argument here. There is a bunch of claims and that's basically it. We're going to ignore this car and radio manufacturer. Oh, this is interesting also, but we're going to look at the thing with the statistics and the poor performance. So statistics is tricky. I don't know exactly which statistic he means because it is not stated. There are a bunch of statistics and I guess it's the 92% of startups fail statistic. This is not quite correct, but even if it were, it does not say anything about if it's a good project or not because it applies to everyone. So every project would fail. The second thing is statistics don't tell you anything about a particular individual case. They give you a probability of something that could occur, but there are many outliers and basically statistically you won't get hit by lightning, yet people get hit by lightning. And the other problem that there is this statistic is not really differentiated. It takes all the startups there are and then 92% fail. But there is differences between the startups. For example, if you have a city with 1,000 people and 2 people get struck by lightning. So the percentage of the probability of getting struck by lightning if you live in the city is 0.2%, not 1%, below 1%. So if a guy has a job in this city, because he's counted to this city, that he's sitting on the hill on the thunderstorm and has to hold a metal stick into the air, this probability is like 100% that he is the guy who gets struck by lightning 2 times. And probably his percentage is way higher than any other. So for VeVe, it would make, for example, sense to ask what is the statistic about how many startups fail that have a CEO that has a successful business before or still, or how many projects and startups fail that are in partnership with Disney or something like that. And these numbers look very different. I am sure of that. So the next thing is the juicy, spicy thing with the team's incompetence. He's judging the team. It's basically a claim. Team is incompetent or has poor management, and the performance. First, performance. How do you measure performance of management? Is it health? Is it happiness of the employees? that is not present, and it is most of the times not present. A framework, how you judge it, what is the metrics of the judgment. And for example, the ultimate performance indicator is sales, and the primary business model of VeVe is selling collectibles, and they are pretty successful in that. They sell every drop they have in seconds. This is not normal. They had millions of revenue in the first year. I don't know how you can quantify that as failure or not successful in performance or whatever. Then is the management thing. Basically, here's again missing the metrics or the things you are measuring to indicate a performance or a quality of a management team. So I go with delivering on time, things delivered on time, and the other thing is what decisions, because I think this is the thing that people get frustrated or annoyed about. So with the time thing, this is a problem. This was a problem for sure. They announced the MTL, it took a year. That could have been handled very differently and very much pretty better, way better. But it is more of a communications error and a communications problem than it is a management problem. Communication is a part of management, I know that, but it is a part of management. So, but they could have done better. Here's the thing, they do better right now. They improved, they learned, they adapted, and they changed. This is basically, for me, an indicator that the management is capable of change, because it's important to change. And regarding the mistakes, they learn from it, as you can see, and mistakes will happen all the time. And we will know about some mistakes, and most of the time we will not know about the mistakes that happen. If you do anything, mistakes happen because you're human. And if you learn from the mistakes, make it better next time, it's all good. And for me personally, I'm happy that these mistakes happen now instead of in 5 years, when there's way much more on the line than now. But they got better and they communicate very differently now. The other thing is a much more intangible thing, because it's about the decisions they make. And people think it's wrong decisions they do. And this is also my problem with that. How do you judge that? First, are you even capable or educated or skilled enough to judge this? Are you a manager yourself? Have you experience in that? The other thing is, you don't have all the information. They do. And they have to decide what's best based on that information. So if you think it's a different decision would have been better, it could be, but probably not, because you don't have all information. And the information being basically what is the status of the company, what is needed, and where it has to go. We don't know the roadmap. We don't know where this is going. We don't know what the brands need, what the brands want. We don't know how the plan is laid out to get there where they want to go. We have a rough aim of where this is going to go. A multiverse, no, not a multiverse, that would be weird. A VeVe-verse, metaverse, and all this stuff, NFT, interoperability and whatnot. And so, but the actual thing where they want to go, we don't know. They're working on stuff that we don't know nothing about. And they may have plans that are very different from what we think they are. And based on that, to judge that is like screaming at a bus driver for going the wrong way when you don't know where the bus is supposed to go. This makes no sense. So we as a community have also a luxury that we can blurt this out. I said this in a video before. We don't have the information, but we also luckily don't have the responsibility. We don't have to decide for our employees, for the connection business relationship with the brands and the community. We don't have to decide that. We see, this is what we want, you have to do that, this is the best decision, when in fact it could be that is a worse decision to waiting, for example. This is difficult to distinguish sometimes, manchmal, because we only are used to look through our glass and to our eyes and see what we want, and we don't have the full picture. So if someone claims it's a poor management and doesn't give examples, and if the examples are they are late and they make decisions you don't agree with, that's not a factor for me to say that it's poor management, because I don't know all the stuff. And there's one more thing. If you think that the management team, Dan and David, should be replaced because someone other would do a better job, let me tell you this. There's this guy from Amazon, the Joe Bezos, and he did give advice to people who want to run or build something, a new business or whatever. I'm going to play this clip for you.
Never chase the hot thing, whatever it is. That's like trying to catch the wave, and you'll never catch it. You need to position yourself and wait for the wave. And the way you do that is you pick something you're passionate about. So that's the number one piece of advice that I give to somebody who wants to start a company or start a new endeavor inside of a bigger company. Make sure it's something you're interested in, something you're passionate about. Missionaries build better products. And so I would take a missionary over a mercenary any day. Mercenaries want to, flip the company and get rich. Missionaries want to build a great product or service. And, and one of those great paradoxes, it's usually the missionaries who end up making more money anyway.
You noticed that he said passion, right? His advice is to pick something you are passionate about. Does that remind you of someone? So what Cliff Bezos is actually saying is he values passion more than education, for example. He didn't say get a master's degree in economics. He said be passionate about what you do. And this is what we got in VeVe. David is passionate as he can get. And I agree, because I'm passionate about VeVe. And that is why I'm making this YouTube channel. That is why I am on Twitter at all. And my passion for VeVe brings me that education. It fuels that education. It makes me educate myself. It makes me sitting at night and watching the AMAs or reading all the articles that come out, watch the YouTubers or be on Twitter for that matter. And this education comes when you're passionate about that. And here's the thing, to all the FUDers and the people who hate the FUDers, guess what? You all are equal amount passionate. The FUDers are the same passionate about the project as we are. And the only difference is that they channel their passion and that energy that comes when it gets rough sometimes differently than other people. If it gets rough and something comes up where I say, oh, this is not good, I educate myself. I read up what it means, what it could happen, what this thing is all about. If you don't do that and take another path and channel your energy into anger, then you get something like that where you be angry about and piss other people off and whatnot. So if you're a FUDer, take this too hard, whatever. It is not good for you to be angry. And if you can channel this in a different way to read up and get educated and whatnot, it is way better for you and everything. And I don't care if you be pro VeVe. You can educate yourself and say, no, this is not what I want, and get off. But you won't be as angry as if you're just scared and running on autopilot. I don't care if you're on VeVe or not, because VeVe is going there without you or not. I don't want you to be angry, because the world, frankly, does not need much more angry people or anger in the world per se. So, and one other thing about passion, I know that you can be critical and passionate about something. I am critically looking at VeVe. I just come to the conclusion that it's fine and it's good, and that is what I'm telling you. But I actually look very critically on this project. I did Wing Chun for 14 years and I was very passionate about that. But I thought at that time, and I still think, it is definitely not the best martial arts, and it has big flaws, and it has a huge potential to go not work at all. But I loved the process and I was very passionate about doing it right and noticing the strength of it and using that. But I know Wing Chun alone does shit for you. And it is sometimes very hurtful when the people are delusional, which is pretty common in this martial arts. So you can be both. You can be critical and not think of it all the best Moon Boy stuff, and be passionate about that. Just think about it. It's just a thought. So I don't know how long this video is. If you're still here, thank you very much. You are legend. As always, be nice in the comments and have a good day. Dadbot out.